Welcome to Colmar!
Look at this really cute view out the back.
It's a mini shower.
Sorry.
Is it really pink?
Yes,
Hey, we're
even
gonna
the
go
closet
up the tiny
is
little
pink.
It's the steepest
Dollhouse.
stairs I ever seen in my life.
I know, it feels like a dollhouse.
Oh my gosh, it is like a dollhouse, Ella.
Yes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
there's another chest.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful chest.
It's Alsatian architecture.
Yeah. Oh wow, I love it.
Hi, Grayson. There's Grayson. There's the kitchen over there. And the really lovely living room. Interesting. The best part is definitely the view. Check out the view. There's Petite Venice down there. Little Venice. And then all the Alsatian homes that they are known for here. And tons of people.
Here we are in Colmar on the Quai de la Poissonnerie. That's the Fisherman's Wharf. The covered market's right near us, and our Airbnb is right down there, just not even a block away. And this is one of the most well-known streets. Lots of tourists coming down this because you can see all of the houses behind me. Colmar just has a really interesting history. Obviously, it looks quite German. If you walk around here, you know, the buildings remind you of Germany. And you look at all the surrounding towns, there's a lot of Bachs and Walds and Heims, so it sounds and looks very German, but of course belongs to France and everyone's speaking French. And actually it's interesting, you walk around here and even though there's a lot of tourists, they seem to be a lot of French tourists. Of course there's foreign tourists as well, but everyone's speaking French. So it's a really cool mix of German and French. And if you look at its history, you know, the very first mentions of Colmar were in the 800s with Charlemagne. And so, of course, you know, if Charlemagne's talking about it, you can imagine it's going to grow into the Holy Roman Empire, which it did. For about first 800 years of its existence, it was part of the Holy Roman Empire. Now, of course, that's not Germany, but it's sort of proto-Germany. You know, Germany didn't exist until a lot later. You know, through those 800 years, it was part of the Holy Roman Empire. There were different factions that it was part of. You know, throughout that time, it did eventually join the Protestant Reformation, and it was definitely part of the 30 Years' War. And the Swedes actually came and conquered it and controlled it for about 2 years. That was in the 1600s. And then later on, King Louis XIV ended up conquering and annexing it to France. So that was sort of the first time that it was really part of France. So I guess it was about 200 years then that it was part of France. And then, of course, as Prussia was rising, you know, Prussia won the Austro-Prussian War, and not much longer was entered into the Franco-Prussian War. And then at that point, Germany was able to take it back after about 200 years of the French controlling it. And so then it was back into, you know, sort of German-speaking hands. During that time is when the Haut-Kœnigsbourg castle that we visited, that was sort of rebuilt by the Kaiser to re-establish German influence in the area. And Colmar remained in German hands until the end of World War I. And of course, Germany lost, and it was re-annexed back to France and remained in France until World War II, of course, when Hitler took over just about everything, all of France and much of Europe, and then was part of Nazi Germany, and then returned to France again at the end of World War II, and then since then has remained France. So it's a really cool history back and forth between, you know, German-speaking and French-speaking rulership, and so, you know, now it's just a really cool place, a mixture of all of the German history and architecture, but has French-speaking people. So it's been cool for us to be here and hear French and practice our French, and the boys who are studying at Gymnasium to practice their French. It's been really cool. And so then one of the most iconic things in Colmar is these beautiful colored houses. I mean, just amazing. And we were on the boat ride, and I learned the reason why they're colored on the boat ride from our guide. And he was telling us that, of course, the people couldn't read back then the signs that they might have on a storefront. And so the colors of the buildings were for the different professions of the people living there. So red was for blacksmiths, blue was for the fishermen, yellow was for the bakeries, green was for the tailors and tanners. I've read, I mean, that's at least the colors that we were told on the boat. I've looked it up online and it's a little bit different depending on where you read, but it doesn't really matter. The whole point is that it's just so cool that they paint their houses different colors depending on your profession. So you know, oh, I need to go get some bread. I mean, I guess if you lived here, you'd probably know who lived where, which places or what, but it's still really cool. And they're saying how, it's protected now and you can't repaint your house a different color. And it's really, really cool. And I don't think none of them in the background here. There's some over this way over there where the first floor, second floor if you're American, first floor if you're European, the first floor is overhanging the street. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is that you paid your taxes by the area you took up on the street. And so if you were rich, you would be able to build your house out a little bit farther and get some extra room in your first floor without having to pay taxes on that because it wasn't taking up actual street space. So it's kind of interesting, the history behind those overhanging buildings that you'll see here in this region.
Snails?
Yes, they are real snails.
Okay, this is my first time in my life, even though we lived in France, trying escargot. I'm afraid. I'm not. That's a crouton.
There's a crouton on top.
You should be, Mom.
It's good.
Can you see it?
Yes, I see some black. Does it taste good? Mm-hmm.
Sure, basically. Good, try it.
It's good. It's really good.
It's really good, isn't it? It's good.
It's trying to try the snail. It's hot.
He's still thinking. What do you think? It's chewy, huh?
It tastes like some seafood.
Right, it did. It tastes kind of like seafood, indeed.
Yeah, because I've tried seafood before and it tastes just like that.
What are you drinking?
Pastis.
Very Francais.
Yeah, it's not from Alsace, not Alsatian. It's more Toulouse and Provence, but I still love it. All right, Grayson's going back for seconds.
Second time.
Can I smell it?
Sure. Are you not hungry?
All right, here's my first Tarte Flambée au Munster. It's with Munster cheese. Delicioso. Perfect.
Oh, so delicious.
I think it's amazing. I think it's delicious. Ella doesn't like it.
Ella doesn't like it.
The kids don't like it. Munster cheese has a very strong smell in France. Not in the USA, but in France.
Not monster cheese.
I love it. I think it's delicious. Okay, so when traveling with kids, our biggest tip is to find all the best playgrounds in the city you're going to so your kids are happy, and the best ice cream places. Playgrounds and ice cream. So we found this awesome playground and the kids had so much fun playing on this thing. I mean, German playgrounds are fantastic, but this one is also awesome.
I'm not it, Gabriel's it.
This is like the coolest playground.
Look!
That's so cool.
Raisins it?
Hi!
Bonjour.
Meters deep, and the source is coming from mountain. Like in the time it used to be a commercial road. You can go from here until Strasbourg, so it was a long way.
Wow. It's a great little tour. We're gonna go under the bridge and we have to put our heads down
You don't need
to go through under the bridge. Okay, you ready?
Heads down.
Oh, this is funny. Oh,
Bonk.
Ooh, what is that?
I don't know, but don't.
oh my gosh. It's really loud. Oh my god.
That guy has
This is cute. This is fun.
Yeah, he did.
Great for kids.
Oh no!
If you're really tall. The guy in the front is really tall.
You have the covered
And he had to
market,
sit on the-
which is 1864. It's still used as a market.
We don't have to duck.
There's so much of it.
Yeah, right.
I'll go traveling without ice cream. Is it good? Different? You got Fleur.
This is... It's like caramel or something. It's definitely some kind of
Fleur de
chocolate.
sel, yeah?
So here behind me, we've got the old medieval wall. Pretty cool. Although the boys said it doesn't look very substantial. Probably one trebuchet blow and it would knock it down. So they weren't very impressed with its structural integrity, but it's still cool to see.
Well, it's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, so.
Yeah. See the fish?
Okay, we're here in Colmar and we just ran into some followers, so we just wanted to say hi, and we told them they will be able to see themselves in the next video. This is Christo and Gary. They're from Bulgaria, but they live in Germany, so it's so nice to meet them. Say hi, everybody. Hi.
What's up?
Bibalakas. I can't remember how it's said. I'm not sure. But it's very traditional Alsatian. Looks very yummy.
It's okay. I'll rate it about 6 out of 10.
C'est bon?
Yeah. Say bowl.
Say bowl.
This is gonna be my
I got an oven. Whoa, what is that? What is it? Chicken? I don't know what it is. An oven. Now they sell these things all over Colmar, these dishes that you can bake them in. I'm gonna have to try making this at home. This looks delicious. All right. I'm not sure what kind of meat this is. I don't know if it's, oh, this is. It's not chicken. I don't think it's pork either. I don't know what it is. It's good. Okay, while the kids are running around and running their energy off again for the third or fourth time today.
When it's time for bed.
We had so much fun at, what is it called?
Yes.
Shehansi. Shea.
Yes, it's past your bedtime, Ella.
It's Shehansi. If you're
Yes.
coming to Colmar, I don't know. They are so friendly.
Yes, the waiters were super friendly.
And the hostess is super friendly. I made a reservation there last night, and she was so nice even last night, and then greeted me tonight like she knew who I was, like I lived in this town. It was, I don't know, it was so warm and friendly, and they had such authentic Alsatian food,
Yes, it
which
was
is
really
very
cool.
similar to the food we have in Bavaria,
Yeah.
but still different.
Have I been
And-
in Bavaria before?
Bavaria.
We live in Bavaria, Ella.
That's where you guys were born?
No, that's where we live now.
That's where we live. And we had lots
so this
of.
was your first house when you were married?
When we were first married, we lived in France, and it was not very far
It wasn't
from here.
very
That's
far
right,
from
Ella.
here.
So it's just an hour drive?
About that, yeah.
No, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Maybe. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the beautiful city of Colmar. We're really happy to be here and we're enjoying our time. We've been walking all over the city, enjoying the beautiful Alsatian Renaissance architecture. It's just adorable. It really encapsulates everything we think about when we think about fairy tales. I mean, you can see like Belle step out of her house, and you could almost see like Snow White walking down the street. I mean, it's just adorable. I know for an American that sounds very cliche to say that, but it's so true. You almost feel like you're in the middle of a movie. But Colmar is more than just cute buildings. Colmar is also known for its famous fountains, which we've been by several and they're not on, which was kind of disappointing. Maybe they're under construction, but it's known for its famous fountains, its ancient churches, and its Alsatian Renaissance architecture. It is the birthplace of the sculptor of the Statue of Liberty. Americans would like to know that. He was born here in 1834, and his name was Frederick Augusta Bartholdi. The 15th and 16th centuries here were its golden age, which is where you see a lot of the architecture from. And that's when Colmar found wealth thanks to its merchants, its agriculture, and its winemaking. And you're gonna find a lot of wine shops around. You also find a lot of teddy bear shops. Not sure why teddy bears are popular here. And also gingerbread. And if you look at the architecture, it really does remind me of gingerbread. The houses look like they're made of dough because the way that the concrete sticks out from the wood frame. And so it's just it's like very 3D. I love it. Kevin and I just love it. We were walking through, we left the kids at home yesterday, and we were walking through the town and just like, I don't know, it speaks to us. This is our kind of place. It's cozy, it's warm, and after living in the Alsace region when we were first married, I guess it just has a special place in our hearts. Many people come here to visit the churches. You should definitely check them out. Right now I'm standing in front of the cathedral and I'll show you some shots of it. The stone is just the most beautiful color. There's pink and terracotta and gray and this nice like tan color, just gorgeous. So some famous foods in Colmar that you should definitely try if you're gonna come are the foie gras, which is duck liver. Definitely try that. It was invented in Strasbourg, which is just a little bit north of here, in 1780. I had this last night in the restaurant, and it is the I'm not going to pronounce this right, the Baekoeffe. It's a dish composed of 3 marinated meats with potatoes and carrots and white wine, and it's cooked in a little Alsatian baking dish. I so want to buy one of these, and I might buy one before we leave. Sauerkraut is really big here. The matelot du Rhin fish dish is very big here. And then a chicken and wine dish, le croc au Riesling, you should try that. And a spicy bread is similar to gingerbread, it's called pain d'épicé. And Munster cheese is really big here. Also the Tarte Flambée are really big here. So the Tarte Flambée we also have in Germany, and we call it Flammenkuchen there. And it is like a thin pizza. The closest thing you could say would be like pizza, but it's different than pizza because it has no tomato sauce. So they usually put a delicious French cheese sauce on top. This Tarte Flambée, it comes from the Alsatian region of France and also from Germany in Baden, the Palatinate, and the Moselle regions. It is composed of bread dough that is thinly rolled out in the shape of a rectangle or an oval, and it's covered with fromage blanc or crème fraîche, thin sliced onions, and lardons. That's the basic one. You can get them salé, you can get them salty, you can get them sucré, which is sweet, so you can have them as a dessert or as a main course. And it basically translates to pie baked in flames. They used to be something that the poor and just the regular people would make in their homes as a way to use bread. So some popular ones you can get are gratiné with Gruyere cheese, forestier with mushrooms. You can get it Munster with Munster cheese. You can also get it sweet with apples and cinnamon, blueberries, and flambéed with calvados, or another sweet liqueur. This is really cool. The dish was created by Germanic farmers from the Alsace, Baden, and Palatinate regions who used to bake bread only once a week. It was a homemade dish that was not popular in restaurants until the 1960s when there was a big pizza boom, so the Flammenkuchen was used to test the heat of the oven. This is cool. At the peak of its temperature, the oven would also have the ideal conditions in which to bake a Flammenkuchen. The embers would be pushed aside to make room for the cake in the middle of the oven, and the intense heat would be able to bake it in 1 to 2 minutes. And you can tell that the crust is really thin, but the bottom is sort of blackened, and it's crispy, and that's what makes it taste so good, I think, is the crispiness. So after the annexation of the Alsace region by France, the Alsace region went back and forth between Germany and France quite a few times. So the Flammenkuchen made its way into French cuisine as Tarte Flambée. One thing I've noticed, guys, is the Alsatian traditional Trachten looks very similar to the Trachten in the Black Forest. You can see how we're right near the Black Forest. They have very similar traditional wear, and I thought that was really cool. Griffin, what are we standing on?
Drawbridge. It's a drawbridge. They would probably fall into sewage water or something.
Really?
I think that would be very effective because in their full armor they couldn't very well swim, and the water would most likely be cold.
Ooh.
Like in the medieval
How
times.
deep is this well?
62 meters. That is deep.
That is deep.
Yeah.
cool. Griffin, what do you see?
This is an arrow slit. Archers would gather up around here when an invading army was coming, and once the army burst through the gate, they could start shooting at them. And only a very experienced longbow archer could survive the parade, could survive not getting knocked out by the parade of all of the knights surging through, and it would be very hard for him to shoot up here.
Yeah, cool, huh?
You could easily execute somebody from here.
You can just imagine it in your mind, huh?
Yeah.
The 62-meter deep well. Yeah, it says Brunnen. The well.
Grayson, what were your thoughts on the castle?
I loved it. Well, like all other castles, they're all cool.
What
because
is
they're
cool
old
about them?
and pretty, I guess.
Except they didn't have guns, they had arrows.
Okay, then. What about trebuchet? Let's see. I don't even know how they work.
Oh, it's like straight down.
Okay, this castle is so cool. Aren't you loving it?
Yeah, we just saw arrow slits, like where they shoot out arrows from, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, shoot arrows from them. It's just so cool.
And there's a cannon right over there in the corner.
I mean, it's not originally how it was because this castle was left in ruins for 200 years and it was burned by the Swedes and everything. But they've restored it so well, you really feel like you're back in the medieval times. It's definitely worth visiting. And the view of the Vosges
But when you look at the
Mountains
windows,
is so beautiful.
when
from
you
up
look
here.
out the windows, like if you try to look straight down, I got really scared. I felt like I was gonna fall.
Yeah, it's really high up.
Because you look straight down.
Yeah.
goes over here. There.
Really, this castle is a must-see. It is spectacular. They have done such an amazing job with the restoration. The restoration was actually started by the German king, the German Kaiser, from 1900 to 1908, and I say they did a masterful job. It is so well done. It looks amazing. It's 100% worth the visit. Highly recommend, especially if you're into medieval castles like us McFalls are. We love them.
So I got a little memory when I was ordering food here at the castle, that looking at the drink menu, and they had the beer 1664, which is a very common beer that my friends would have a lot when I lived in France. So I had to order one, and this is a 16 with some syrup in it. And that's very common. I remembered when I was here in France that it was very common that you would go out and you get syrup in your beer. And I have seen that in Germany sometimes, but it's very common here in France. And all my friends would drink it, and I was like, ew, you put syrup in your beer? I was sort of a purist. But actually, I'm really liking it now, and it's really cool that I saw this. It's of course 1664, but nobody says that. You don't order it 1664. You say, I want a 16. And the guy's like, oh, 16. He's like, you really? That's what you want? It's like, yeah. And I think he was surprised that I ordered it as a 16. So very tasty.
Does this have? Let's see, 300.
330. Here, right here.
Okay, and I got, well actually Kevin got for me, the chèvre. What is it called? The
Tartine au chèvre chaud.
Tartane au chèvre chaud. So goat cheese toast, hot goat cheese toast. So goat cheese is very good in France. Very good. Ooh, very good. I like it.
So come back next week as we share our amazing trip to Europapark, which is the largest amusement park in all of Germany and the second largest in all of Europe. We're going to be comparing it directly to Disney World in Florida. You might be surprised by how much better Europapark can actually be.